I thought this was pretty thoughtful, so I'm going to do, I'm going to, I guess, post this video on L Hughley's thoughts and opinions on Barack and Michelle Obama, Hillary Clinton, Bernie Sanders, and Donald Trump. And on the Donald Trump portion, as far as I'm concerned, he basically hit it out of the park. Here we go.
Neil, thank you so much for being here.
Very welcome.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you about 4 politicians. I'm going to just go through them in order and let you go off. And we're going to start, of course, with President Barack Obama. You wrote a satirical biography of him. As a comedian, Barack Obama is funny when he's talking, but he's not easy to make fun of, right? What's the funniest thing about Barack Obama?
The funniest thing about Barack Obama is how there are things we want him to do because he's black and he just won't do. Like we want him to, hey man, that's enough. Right? I know you're gonna say something right there, and he does it better than we. Like when the dude calls you a liar or some of the stuff. And I don't think that I think that he's a decent, humane, thoughtful human being. I think we're gonna miss him when he's gone. And I think the one thing I can say, the critique I would have is I wish he would have that moment where black people, all right, let's see, I get that.
Yeah.
All right, but he and I like even writing a book. Like everybody always goes, well, he's gonna write a book, and then I don't even think he'll do that. I think he's above it all.
Don't you get the sense that Michelle, actually behind the scenes, is the person doing that?
That's why the book is in the book. She's the narrator.
Yeah.
In the book, it's actual events, but she's the narrator. Because she's a testament to strength. Can you imagine? Like obviously he's a very strong man, but he hears his burden and her burden.
Yeah, absolutely.
If she does something right, it affects him, and she has to have the children. Like, can you imagine? I could never imagine it, but I think in the book she is the through line that we kind of use, the touchstone that we use to kind of tell all the stories. Because they're just stories that are real, that real events, but just narrated by us.
Just narrated in a comedic way. I mean, as much as I think, and this book really is going to, I think, play into that a little bit. There's some Obama nostalgia kicking in, particularly with black folks. Oh, yeah. But as much as black women in particular are going to miss Barack Obama, it's Michelle that black women are really.
It is,
right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Listen, people, you say what you want to say. They make these comparisons between Barack Obama's candidacy and Bernie's candidacy. You know, Bernie doesn't have black women.
Yeah.
Who will ride or die for you. Look here. If he's Clyde, they're his Bonnie, and all of them, millions of them, millions of educated, thoughtful, strong people are behind you. And I think there's nobody else who can do. I've never seen that happen before.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the person who wants that to happen for her, and that's Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
Will Hillary Clinton be able to fill that void for African Americans that's being left?
I don't know that Hillary Clinton can do that. Obviously, that's a phenomenon. But I will say this: she's as qualified a human being as I've ever seen run for presidency. And I think a lot of things that happened to her specifically because she's a woman. And I think that when everybody, she should go to jail. Oh, really? For what? Tell me. Everything she's done, there's been a variation done. You're mad at Hillary's email, but you're not mad about a war that started this whole horrible ride that went on and disrupted an economy. Be consistent. It's just, to me, I know how hard it is to be a black man. But I imagine that the link to that, the comparison to that, it's hard as to be a woman.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, but I just from a standpoint where I think you should know a tree by its fruits. I think George Bush was such a bad president. We got Barack Obama. I think Barack Obama's such a good president. Maybe we'll get Hillary Clinton.
Yeah. Well, there's talk about maybe Elizabeth Warren running with Hillary Clinton. Right. How would men react?
This man would react to two competent, well-intentioned, principled women with play. I don't see anybody out there. Listen, when you look at, even in ourselves, everything men have, black men in particular have, we have because of women. Everything we have because of women. Every single thing, and that's hard for me to take because I'm a bit of a chauvinist, but when you look at everything we have, the freedoms we enjoy, the places we can go, the fights that were fought, who they fought by? So shut up, it's about time they cut their time in the sun.
Yeah. Well, you talk
it's a shame that two women got more balls than most of the candidates I see. Yeah. It's just, I'm not trying to be offensive, but they seem to be braver. Who fight, who goes back and forth on Twitter with Elizabeth, which is such a dumb notion, who does Trump stay away from? Elizabeth Warren.
That's right. It's interesting because you as a comedian, you know that the timing, the way that you can deliver a line. Elizabeth Warren seems to have inherent comedic timing.
She does.
Yeah.
She does.
And she's writing those tweets herself that she might be.
She might not be. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that's true. But I think they're well-intended, principled, competent human beings who I feel comfortable with at the head of this government. Now, I'm not saying that's everybody's opinion, but it's very much mine.
Well, let's talk about Bernie Sanders. Larry David has brought Bernie Sanders to the mainstream, made Saturday Night Live funny this year in that when he plays Bernie Sanders. What do you make of Bernie Sanders?
Bernie Sanders looks like a disheveled professor. I think he looks like a dude who's always looking for his papers. And I think he's raised some good ideas and no answers to them.
Yeah.
And I think the shame in America is the two people that everybody's excited about when they want change is two old white dudes.
Yeah. Bernie Sanders, as we're sitting here talking today, is meeting with President Obama. What do you think, if you were writing that into your book, what would that conversation be?
Well, I think that he's a dude that likes being a rock star. And no one, everybody, obviously, he was a senator for a long time in Vermont. It was, now he's somebody who was really galvanizing his crowd. But clearly, and they always make the false narrative, the comparison between Hillary Clinton and him in 2008. She is ahead of Barack Obama in the popular vote and 120 behind in the electoral college. She had a legitimate argument. And if they count Michigan and Florida, she's president. That's true. She had an argument. You are 3 million votes behind and almost 1,000 votes. Sit your old ass down. And if you're going to talk to me about the future, look like you're strong enough to see it. Like he doesn't look like... Can you imagine putting that old man in with these Republicans? Are you crazy? Are you crazy? You think where Bernie was a movie to kill him? They would really be too much for him.
All right, we got to get to Donald Trump. Comedians are probably just waiting to serve him up. Yeah.
He's a racist, and anybody who listen, Paul Ryan basically said that's textbook racism. So what Paul Ryan actually said is a racist is better than a liberal. And if you say that, it's because you're not affected by racism. Everything we are, we can obfuscate, we can do whatever. Liberals built this country. You are what you are because of liberals. And I was on with Joe Scarborough, who I adore. I don't agree with everything he says, but he brags about this being the party of Lincoln. When you gotta go keep referencing the dude on the penny, you better update your resume.
Yeah.
Stop it. Everything you enjoy right now, you enjoy. Everybody they like now, they hated before. They hated Martin Luther King. Now they pretend like they love him. They hated Muhammad Ali. They didn't start loving Muhammad Ali until he was shaking going up the stairs when they were living. And he was shaking so bad, like literally, I went home and blew my pilot light out. I'm like, whoop. But they didn't start loving him until he was no longer a threat. You don't get to be a little racist. You don't get to be a little poignant. If I'm in a car, I commit a crime. The dude in the car with me pretend like he don't know. That ain't gonna work.
Yeah.
You're a co-conspirator. And if you know that he's a racist, you're a co-racist. Simple as that.
And exit question on Donald Trump. Donald Trump is in some ways a performer, of course. He was on reality television.
Like a circus clown.
Yeah. But if you could get into his head, why do you think he's doing this? Why do you think he's running for president?
I think he's a vain, egotistical man, and I think to a certain degree, all of them have to have a level of hubris. All of them have to believe that they're... I think that he knew he could. I think that whether people like Barack Obama was a bullet in the head of white supremacy. I was reading an article by Noam Chomsky. He talked about for the first time, uneducated white men, their mortality rates are dying, and they want somebody to blame. In this country, we pay poor brown people to do our thinking, they're our engineers, and we pay poor brown people to do our labor. If you are an educated white guy, what do you feel? Somebody took it away from you. I'm angry about that. Somebody gets the blame for it. He's that. He speaks to that.
Well, T.O. Hughley, you mince no words. Your book is called An Oral History of the Obama Years. Black Man, White House.
It's very funny.
And it's actually funny, yeah.
It's very funny.
Thank you so much for being here. Best of luck with the book. Great to see you, too.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, he hit it on the head. Basically, we needed Obama to have a more... call it backbone. I think more of the Michelle Obama drive, because she's got a hell of a lot of drive, and a lot of people don't realize that. I think if Hillary Clinton were a man, she would be kicking some ass, but because she's a woman, obviously she got attacked for the attack that she took. But if she were a man with the position and power that she has right now, I think she would really be backing, a lot of people up. Bernie Sanders is Bernie Sanders, and again, he got out there, this was his flame up before he flames out, and he didn't realize, that there was a tremendous segment of the population that would identify with him, so that he didn't jump in with both feet. So he is where he is because of his convictions for where he thought he could go. Donald Trump is Donald Trump. Donald Trump is an egotistical maniac. He is a racist. If you go back and review his history on Department of Justice beating his ass on discrimination lawsuits, discriminating against black people living in his buildings, you go back and you look at the Central Park Five that were ultimately found not guilty because of DNA evidence that proved without a doubt that they did not commit the crime that they were accused of, and even the victim basically acknowledged that it was not them. But he turns around because the city settled with them for what the police did as far as forcing confessions out of teenagers that weren't even of the age to be able to vote. And Donald Trump takes out a full page ad denigrating them and talking about bringing back the death penalty because of them. Okay, so that wasn't racist. Yeah, Donald Trump retweeting white supremacist statements and then claiming that he doesn't believe in everything that he retweets, which is bullshit. Donald Trump's kid having white supremacists on a radio show with him where a black commentator wanted to come on his show and the kid told him no. Donald Trump calling African Americans or referencing African Americans as though they were his property. No, Donald Trump's a racist. That's just it in a nutshell. I mean, there's a lot more stuff out there, regarding employment in his casinos, the attorney he hired in order to defend himself in the discrimination lawsuit, and that attorney's history being one of the main guys that was working with Joseph McCarthy, who was a known anti-communist guy, and the references that his attorney made regarding the government acting like basically Nazis. There's a lot of stuff in Trump's history, that just basically just tells you straight out he's a racist. So I was glad that L Hughley started his comment regarding Trump off with the fact that he is a racist.